Okay. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everyone. Hope you're happy to be here. I know I am. My name is Nick Noonan. I'll be one of your hosts in today's webinar. So we just opened the line, but I would ask, while we are waiting for folks to sort of filter in, we'd love to hear where everyone is joining in from. So I'm here broadcasting from Cambridge, Massachusetts, right next to MIT Sloan School of Management and Executive Education. So it would be great if you can pull up the chat box on your screen and tell us where you're at in the world today. When you do that, you can actually select to send the chat to all panelists and attendees. This is done simply by changing the toggle to all panelists and attendees so that we can all see it. So great, we have a lot of responses. We have folks from Nigeria, Michigan, Switzerland, the Philippines, Denver, Colorado, Toronto, Ontario, Rhode Island, California, Iceland, Pennsylvania, and Brazil, as well as Bangladesh, another individual from Brazil. I think they're in the lead right now. Mexico. Oh, we got two folks from Utah, so there's a challenge for Brazil there. India, Bangkok, Taiwan, New York. Oh, another Massachusetts person. This is awesome. Welcome, everyone. It's great to see and have everyone here. This is one of the amazing advantages of this online program. We're creating a virtual global classroom and forum for all to come together on a topic for which we share a mutual shared interest in. So thanks for joining, and I think we can get started. So I'll introduce myself again. I'm Nick Noonan. I'm an academic delivery manager at Emeritus. I'm with my colleague, Eric Newman, an associate director of design. We work with Emeritus, who is a partner and collaborator with MIT Sloan School of Management and Executive Education on this course program. I'll introduce our counterparts at MIT in a few moments. However, right now, we are excited to dive into this course on cybersecurity. So let's get into it. With all that said, let's jump into a warm-up exercise. What I'd like you all to do now is go into your internet browser of choice and type howsecureismypassword.net. So I'll give you a moment to do that. Once brought up, go ahead and type in a random password. I suggest you not use a real password that you're actively using now. Just invent one on the spot with similar complexity to your norm. So next, after you've done this, see how long it would take for someone to actually hack your password. You can do this by viewing the immediate response received from the website stating how long it would take. And when this is done, please come back into the chat and tell us how long the results would be for someone or a computer to decode your password. Okay, we have some responses. 41 trillion years. Wow, Oscar. Great. 16 billion years from Cameron. We have 6 trillion years, 227 million years. You guys are great. We also have 4 days, 1 month, 6 years, instantly. Might want to think about changing that one, switching it up a bit. Same with 1 minute. Doesn't seem too secure. 5 minutes, 34,000 years. So already we can see the great variety in strength of password. What you can do is with the password you've created is play around with the meter a bit more. And you can note, again, how easy it is, and as you've seen from the different responses from folks in the chat, how easy it is to go from something like instantaneous to trillions of years based on the complexity of the password that you've entered. And this generates some food for thought. Something I'd like you to think about now: if all the employees in your organization did this test with current passwords, what do you think the average time to crack would be? As I've already mentioned, we can see a huge variation within our own webinar right now. So again, feel free to go back and change or play around with your password with combinations of words, letters, or characters, and look at the difference between simple passwords versus more complex passwords. So it gives you a sense for the security of a stronger or weaker password. And again, along the same lines of the food for thought about all of the employees in your organization, if they were to do this with current passwords, some of you are clearly sophisticated with this, but think of the average employee and maybe even take this back to your current employees or colleagues to encourage them to strengthen the passwords that they currently use. Next, I do want to talk to you and build off of a couple facts on passwords. So believe it or not, an analysis of 11 million stolen passwords for cloud services conducted by Sky High Networks found that just 20 passwords constitute 10% of all passwords currently in use. Experts are now recommending that the minimum password length to avoid being compromised by brute force cracking is 13 characters. So that's the minimum length. About 40% of organizations store privileged and administrative passwords in a Word document or spreadsheet. And I'd say all of these statistics to suggest that there is a lot of vulnerability out there around passwords. So this was an icebreaker exercise to get us thinking on cybersecurity, more specifically what it means for us personally, as well as our organization. And this is a good transition into our webinar today. I'd now like to introduce our speakers from MIT Sloan School of Management, who we have with us today. We have Christine Gonzalez, who is the Assistant Director of Digital Programs at MIT Sloan School of Management. Christine has expertise managing complex issues effectively. She is currently sharing her strong knowledge of digital learning capabilities, as well as instructional design to create diverse online learning platforms. She is involved in the delivery of several high-quality online educational programs. We also have Bella DeMambro. She joined the MIT Sloan School 5 years ago and has been with the executive education since 2015. She runs a variety of programs both on-site at the MIT campus and internationally, as well as digital deliveries. So again, Christine is the Associate Director of Digital Deliveries, and Bella is the Assistant Director. It's a pleasure to have them both here today. Christine and Bella both have a lot of experience, which they will soon share. However, before I turn it over, I want to mention how you can communicate with us during this program. We have already touched on the chat functionality that you all are using very well. I want you all to know that there's another way to submit questions to us. Obviously, we want to address your questions as much as possible because one of our goals today, which is paramount, is for you to make an informed decision on whether or not this course is for you. So in the Zoom bar, there is a Q&A box, and this is the best place to put questions directed for us. Please note we do have time reserved at the end of this presentation to address these questions. We also have program advisors to answer questions as the presentation rolls on. However, we will be reserving the majority of the questions for the end answer. So again, if you put your questions in the Q&A box, it'll help us manage the question load and help us make sure we're addressing all of your concerns. Questions in the chat box aren't ideal, and we don't want to risk them being lost in the chat. So with that, I will turn things over to Bella to talk about the agenda.
Great, thanks so much, Nick. Can you all hear me okay? Sounding good? Great. So today we've got hopefully a very informative session for you. We'll walk through the learning outcomes of this program. We'll do a little bit deeper dive into what the program consists of, the modules, how you'll be learning. We'll cover some assignments and key dates, and then we'll certainly have time at the end for any questions you might have. So to jump to the learning outcomes. Great, thank you. At the end of a successful completion of this program, you will learn how to select and use the right frameworks to enhance cybersecurity decision-making in your organization and also your personal life, how to assess risk, improve defenses, and reduce vulnerabilities in your organization, and how to speak the language of cybersecurity to enable informed conversations with your technology teams and colleagues, and ensure your organization is as cyber secure as possible. And you will be learning from some of the best and brightest here at MIT. I'd like to introduce you to our faculty. Stuart Madnick is the faculty director for this program. He is the John Norris McGuire Professor of Information Technologies at the MIT Sloan School of Management, a professor of engineering systems at MIT's Engineering School, and the founding director of cybersecurity at MIT Sloan. Madnick's involvement in cybersecurity research goes back to 1979 when he co-authored the book Computer Security. Currently heads cybersecurity at MIT Sloan Initiative. You'll also be hearing from Carrie Perlson, the executive director at MIT Sloan's cybersecurity. She has held positions in academia and industry, including Babson College, the University of Texas at Austin, Gartner's Research Board, CSC, and AT&T. She founded KP Partners, a CIO advisory services firm, and the IT Leaders Forum, a community of next generation's IT executives. She is the founding director of Analytics Leadership Consortium at the International Institute of Analytics. Finally, you'll also be hearing from Michael Siegel, the principal research scientist and director of cybersecurity at MIT Sloan. He is the co-director of Productivity from Information Technology, or PROFIT project. Siegel's research interests include the integration and use of information from multiple sources and the use of modeling and data analytics to analyze complex systems, and his work in these areas has been widely published. Now, you just heard me mention cybersecurity at MIT Sloan quite a few times, so I'd like to take a moment to highlight this research consortium that our faculty lead. Cybersecurity at MIT Sloan, or CAMS, focuses MIT's uniquely qualified interdisciplinary faculty and research on the fundamental principles of cyberspace, cybercrime, and cybersecurity applied to critical infrastructure. CAMS is a confidential academic forum in which leaders and managers can benefit from the experiences of CSOs, CISOs across multiple sectors. In designing this program, our faculty have pulled from their research and learnings at CAMS, both from their fellow academics at MIT and then also from industry. And so you'll be able to access those rich learnings in this program. With that, I'll turn it over to Nick to tell us a little bit more about our learning team.
Awesome, thank you. So in addition to the faculty Bella just mentioned, you'll work with an excellent learning facilitator who will accompany you on this learning course. We have Christina Cooper. Christina is a GRC and cybersecurity consultant. GRC standing for Governance, Risk, and Compliance. So prior to becoming a consultant, she worked in cybersecurity for a financial services firm at Legg Mason and the city of Baltimore. Interestingly, Christina is a certified ethical hacker. She has many interesting insights and experiences to share throughout this course. So we are very thankful to have Christina Cooper as our learning facilitator on this course. So now we'll turn it back to Christine to talk a little bit more about the experience.
Great. Thanks so much, Nick. So before we go too much further, I want to speak briefly about one of the myths that is addressed and debunked in this course. And that is that cybersecurity is an issue just for IT personnel, that it's just their job to deal with that. But it's not. Cybersecurity is actually the responsibility of every single person in an organization. No matter who they are or what their role is, everyone is a contributor in the success of that organization, and therefore, cybersecurity is their responsibility too. You can have the best firewall, the best antivirus applications that software can buy, but if there's not leadership that builds a strong culture of cybersecurity, one that promotes password hygiene, awareness of scams, shared responsibility, then those tools are essentially meaningless. So with that in mind, let's talk a little bit about why this program might be a good fit for you. From this program, you'll take away a playbook, a document with clear and actionable next steps to build a cyber resilient culture. This is a playbook based on your specific learnings. They're your individual learnings that you can then take back to your work and implement. Our hope and goal in creating these materials is that you will use the learnings from this course and take immediate actions to protect your organization, your employees, and yourself from the numerous cyber threats that do exist. And I shouldn't just say protect, because the truth is cyber attacks are inevitable. And that is why you'll not only learn about protecting data, but also about detecting attacks that may already be underway for responding to attacks and for recovering from them. So a little bit about the cybersecurity, the MIT way. At MIT, our motto is mens et manus, which means mind and hand. Our teaching and research philosophy is practical application. Put into practice what you learn. This motto implies that we're not only thinking about great things, but we also do great things. MIT believes in generating new ideas and building them to improve lives around the world. And that is what sets our programs apart. We do not solely stress the knowledge of how to do something, but rather we require you to actually roll up your sleeves and do what you learn. That is the approach we take on all of our programs and what you'll certainly find with the cybersecurity program. The cybersecurity program is mens et manus in action. It's learning that can be actively applied in your organizations and in your homes. Each week, you will work through your module and then in the playbook, reflect upon and build on those learnings. By the end of the program, your playbook will be full of ideas and powerful resources curated by the faculty, by your fellow program participants, and by you yourself. Carrie Perlson, one of the faculty that my colleague Bella just talked to you about, feels passionately that the product of this course is a conversation between you as a business leader and your chief security officer. A conversation in which you can ask informed questions like, as an organization, how are we measuring cyber risk? What quantitative and qualitative frameworks are we using for this? This program is a learning experience full of energy, engagement, and storytelling. Based on the faculty's extensive knowledge and ongoing research in the field of cybersecurity, this program is interactive and current. It maintains the rigor and feel of what you would expect when attending an MIT program. So I'll hand it back to you, Nick, to talk through the next part of the program.
Thanks, Christine. So now that you've heard a little bit about the general approach and various elements we have in the program and how this supports the MIT model of minds and hands, we wanted to give you an overview of each module if you were to join us in this course. So next, we'd like to give you a better sense for what you'll learn in these courses. I'm going to walk you through module by module, the key learning points, and give you a taster for what you can expect. In our first module, it's titled Understanding the Threat Landscape. You will learn how to identify and discuss common threats and practices in cybersecurity. I find this unit enlightening as well as chilling. On the screen, you will see one chart from the module illustrating how, despite our best efforts, the gap between the effectiveness of the good guys and bad guys is getting larger. We continue to develop good defenses. However, in many ways, the bad guys are excelling faster. And this actually leads into a case study we touch on within the course. The module is full of examples and insights into the nature of cyber attacks and why they are difficult to thwart. And this covers topics from phishing emails all the way to blockchain. The goal of the module is to help you to start to identify the risks within your own organization. So moving on to Module 2, this module describes the National Institute of Standards in Technology, cybersecurity framework, and how it can be applied to organizations, and more specifically, your organization. This is a well-recognized and accepted framework for thinking about cyber management priorities. We have an interactive case study in this module. It's about a manufacturing firm that experiences a cyber attack. So through the case study, you'll gain an understanding of this framework, the NIST framework, and how it can be used. One thing I like about this module is that we've brought in an industry expert who will debrief the case study, discuss the framework around cybersecurity and cloud computing. And additionally, an added plus to this course is that the industry expert was actually one of the original architects of this popular framework. So next is Module 3. It's known as Measuring Risk Exposure. In this module, you'll learn how to identify risk and discuss the ways to apply frameworks for measuring risk. And one of the key concepts is thinking about risk as a combination of uncertainty and exposure. You might even call it potentially a deadly combination. So for example, we have one concept of the components of operational risk and how we think about it from the standpoint of people, processes, systems, and external events. This module dives into a lot of granular detail of figuring out what your organization's risk exposure is. Module 4, improving defenses through systems and technology. You'll learn how to budget for cybersecurity using various levels of cyber defense, as well as improving these defenses. The module has a simulation. This simulation is designed to help you think through issues of resource allocation over time and how effective that allocation is for maximizing an organization's defenses. Here we have an opportunity to interactively allocate resources in different ways, from prevention, detection, and resources. And what you can do is view how this unfolds over time in terms of protection and ROI by using the simulation and adjusting the sliders for the aforementioned. Moving on to Module 5, building a culture of cybersecurity. So you'll learn management mechanisms in this module for influencing cybersecurity culture within your own organization. I think that so much of building a resilient organization boils down to people and people's behaviors, which are all influenced by culture. In this module, The course looks at cultural models and see how this impacts people's behavior and what the tools you have as a manager to influence their behavior. One of the key components in this module is to go through a case study about a cybersecurity initiative at a major insurance company. Throughout the module, you'll learn how to think through the elements that contribute to a cyber-aware culture and how you can leverage these influences for your own organization. Module 6, Exploring Ethics in Cybersecurity. In this module, you'll learn how to review the ethical considerations in cybersecurity. In particular, you'll explore the trade-off between privacy and security by examining an in-depth case study about Apple and thinking through the implications of various positions in this controversy as to whether technology companies should enable law enforcement access to its users' information. So big ethical questions here around how to handle the complex issues around privacy versus security. This module is quite thought-provoking in particular. So that sums up the course modules. What I want to do briefly is take you through some of the course reviews and feedback we've received from past participants. As you may be aware, we have 4 modules with feedback. Module 5 and 6 are still active, and that's why we don't necessarily have participant feedback on those modules yet. But in Module 1, one of our participants from the current course likes how the module started out with some real-world examples and then zoomed into the structure of the MIT Sloan cybersecurity. This gave an overall view of the objective, the specifics of what they were learning, and what is the outcome or actions to be taken at the end from the learning. Module 2, feedback from a participant. They enjoyed the learning about the NIST framework and how to make it extremely efficient even in smaller companies, and how it can be adaptable to various industries. Module 3, in this module, the polling questions, mixing up student interaction and collaboration, which, side note, the collaboration between participants only contributes to the effectiveness and overall experience of the course. It's one of the things that we really pride ourselves on, having a forum for open discussion globally. So this individual enjoyed mixing up the student interaction and polling the questions. Finally, Module 4, the simulation exercise was very useful to this participant. It pushed them to consider how much they're investing in each area currently and make adjustments based on the overall results over time. Specifically, they could shift some response funds or times towards prevention. They also appreciated the background on bug bounty hunters. So that's just to give you an idea of feedback we've received from past participants on the course and the different modules. So as I sort of touched on with the participant collaboration, one of the goals in many of our courses is this collaboration between all of the experienced participants. These courses have a wide depth of experienced individuals who bring their own journeys with them, and collaboration is key. Having a forum for participants to come and discuss their ideas and perspectives is crucial to the overall experience of the course. So one of the ways we do this is by establishing resource sharing discussion boards. This provides a forum for you all to share ideas and interact with one another. Throughout the course, participants can come into this discussion board and brainstorm ideas and share favorite resources. The result can be a robust list of resources to draw from and help build out your playbook. And I'll touch on the playbook a little bit later. In the past, for example, participants have shared what has worked throughout the course and additional methods or resources they've found helpful in going through the course. And this forum, again, provides a place to build a global perspective and discuss how we all think about these issues that we share a common interest in. So the cybersecurity playbook, at the end of the course, you'll walk away with a playbook. This will be created as part of your assignments each week. What the playbook is, it's a set of actions that you can take to improve cybersecurity within your own organization. So it's personalized and geared towards you as an individual and your company. You'll build on this playbook throughout the course, and at the end, you can print it out as a takeaway. The playbook is for personal use, and due to this, and due to the fact that you might fill out the playbook with sensitive information, it will never be collected. So you won't receive any feedback on it. It's an optional tool to help you make an action plan based on the learnings throughout the course and different modules. A few key items in the playbook that I would like to touch on include the state of cybersecurity management at your organization. This has inventory questions and high-level objectives. Additionally, questions on the NIST cyber security framework to take to your security officers within your organization. Third, identification and measurement of cybersecurity risk and related questions to, again, take to your security officers. This will help you identify how vulnerable your organization is. Fourth, ideas for a layered system of defense to help protect and take preventative measures within your organization from risk. Also, activities, policies, practices for driving a higher resilient cybersecurity culture within the people at your organization. And lastly, considerations for balancing privacy and security. So those 6 key items will make up your playbook. To reiterate, the playbook is not submitted for privacy reasons. The final assignment is an executive summary of playbook learnings. And with that, I will turn it back over to Bella to talk about the cert of completion.
Great, thanks, Nick. So first, I just want to say, for those unfamiliar with MIT Sloan Executive Education, welcome. We hope you'll join our community. Upon successful completion of this program, you'll earn a certificate of completion from Sloan Executive Education. In addition, completion of this program also carries another benefit, credit towards our MIT Sloan Executive Certificate. This certificate is a formal recognition of your professional development and commitment to continuous learning. Pursuing this certificate allows you to further your business knowledge and skills on a convenient, flexible schedule of your own design. This certificate can be pursued in 3 areas of concentration: strategy and innovation, technology, operations, and value chain management, and finally, management and leadership. In order to earn an executive certificate, you must take 4 programs, 3 of which must be concentrated in a single track, and 1 of which must be completed on site here at MIT. We also offer an advanced certificate for executives in management, innovation, and technology. This is sort of the next step after an executive certificate. We refer to this as an ACE, and this is earned by participants who have attended 25 program days and completed at least 2 programs from each of those 3 tracks. And some of those courses must be completed on campus as well. Programs taken to earn an executive certificate can also be applied towards that ACE. So this program, Cybersecurity for Managers, counts in the management and leadership track, and it is worth 2 program days towards that ultimate ACE. If you'd like to learn more about our certificates and our general program portfolio, I can post a link to our webpage in the chat right here.
Awesome. Thank you, Bella.
Thanks, Nick.
Okay, so mark your calendars. The course start is the 27th of June, and this runs all the way through the 29th of August, where all of your assignments are finally due. So again, apply, spots are filling up fast. We'd love to have you. With that said, in summary, in this course program, we'll cover a number of items to assist in the management and leadership of cybersecurity within your organizations. We bring together key concepts from the learning modules to create the action plan or the playbook that I spoke about earlier of what your next steps will be. And this will only help to enable you to have more informed conversations with someone like your Chief Information Security Officer or other tech leaders within your organization. Each module does include an exercise, and these exercises are designed to allow you to apply the key concepts and insights and personalize it to your own situation. By using the playbook, you'll be able to apply the concepts from the program to your organization. As you walk away from this course, you'll have created a list of actionable activities to implement in your work, teams, and organization from this point onwards. You can register at our website. We also will be posting a registration link in the chat box that you've been utilizing. So please do take advantage of either of those methods. If you have questions, we do have program advisors that you can converse with and find out if this is the right course for you, and as you make your decision to enroll. So again, thank you. We do have some time left to jump into a Q&A. So we will now open it up for that. So we have a few questions. So first question from Kevin. Will the course cover aspects of mobile security? So I'm going to ask my colleague Eric, who's worked with us on this program, to get your input here, and whether or not the course touches on various aspects of mobile security.
Hi, sure. Thanks for the question, Kevin. So the structure of the course is talking about frameworks and managerial tools for managing cybersecurity. So we don't really get into platforms and talking about specific hardware, software, and ways to do that. It's looking at holistically frameworks and how can we make our organizations more cyber resilient by implementing culture, by building awareness and things like that. So if it was you were looking for specifics on what can I do to protect mobile devices, then that's not the kind of coverage we have.
Great. Thank you, Eric. This is going back to the good guys and bad guys graph, which color line is good guys. Good guys was in the green. We will be circulating this deck post-webinar. So when you do receive that, just know within that graph, the good guys are in the green, whereas the bad guys are defined by the red. So thanks for your question. Jason asks, can you share a cybersecurity risk that is discussed in this course and how the program recommends we measure it.
Yeah, I can take that, Nick. Yeah, so the middle of the course does a pretty deep dive into risk, and it examines different types. For example, everything from being infiltrated through a phishing scam, through acquisitions, one company acquiring another company that is not, the company being acquired doesn't have the same standards of cybersecurity. So there's certainly risks there. And Michael Siegel, the faculty who handles this, talks about various frameworks for measuring these risks and reducing them. He does make the strong point, as we did in this presentation, that we can measure, we can mitigate risks, but there's always going to be an attack, so we need to be prepared for that too. I mean, it's inevitable. So he discusses numerous too, and I hope those examples got you where you wanted to be.
Great. Yeah, I think that nails it, Eric. Thank you. Daryl has a question about the simulation tool. Now, is this available for reference after the course is complete? I believe participants do have access to the course up to a year after the completion. Correct me if I'm wrong, Eric.
That's correct. The simulation, no, though. The simulation is an experience that you interact with once, and then you can get a result. You can download a PDF of your results, and there is a lot of debriefing. So Michael Siegel introduces the simulation over the course of a few videos and sort of warms you up and explains in great detail what you're going to experience. You take the simulation one time, it's 2 rounds. And then you can, like I said, you can download your results and hang on to those. And then Michael goes into a very deep dive about how to analyze your results and what this means for you, and talks about some data that he expects to see, some data that he has seen in the past, and really helps to build meaningful takeaways from the experience.
Great. So I do encourage you all, if you're posting in the chat, to post in the Q&A Zoom box. I will also go through the chat just to filter questions that you may have. I caught one from Daryl earlier. So Rui, the course is 6 weeks. To answer your question, beginning June 27th, running through August 29th. Mohammed, happy to get back to you on your question regarding 3 more courses after this course that you would be able to take that also are correlated with cybersecurity. Eric, I don't know if off the top of your head you might be able to think of some courses after our cybersecurity course here, for which would be a good fit to build off of. And if not, it's certainly something we can address offline for Mohammed.
I think perhaps also, Nick, Mohammed, I'm not sure, maybe that question requires a little more clarification, but he might be referring to the 3 more courses with Exec Ed in order to reach the 4 course minimum to receive an executive certificate with executive education. So correct, we can maybe take that offline, Mohammed, or you can clarify in the Q&A box if that is in fact what you were referring to. I'm not exactly clear, but
that's a great point, Christine. So Mohammed, if you can hear us, please clarify if you can.
Oh, I think he just did in the chat. So, okay. So Mohammed, so you can take, so we have a whole portfolio of programs that fall into 3 different categories within executive education. So you can choose which program you'd like to take in those categories, management and leadership. There's one on strategy and innovation, and there's another one on value chain management. So that link that my colleague Isabella sent out, you can click on that and take a look at all of the programs. Regarding something specifically with cybersecurity, I think we have a couple of programs that maybe talk about it at a higher level, but of course not to the degree that this particular program does. If you are looking for something that is going to teach you about cybersecurity, then this is the program that we recommend for you. But we can take that offline. I don't know, Bella, if you have any other thoughts. But.
Yeah, Mohammed, I'm about to post a link in the chat that is just a consultation form if you're interested in figuring out a pathway towards earning your executive certificate. Just fill it out, provide as much information as to your interests and background as you can, and someone from our team will reach out to you.
Great. Thank you both. Carla has asked, is advanced programming knowledge necessary in order to take this course?
Yeah, I can take that. So definitely not. There's nothing technical. There's certainly plenty to be gained for people that have a PhD in computer science and people that have never ever touched HTML or any kind of coding. Both audiences are fine for this course. There's nothing technical here.
Great. Thanks for the clarification, Eric. Yasin, the webinar is being recorded. It will be available for later viewing, and we also will be circulating the deck that is being presented right now. So that will be sent out upon the conclusion of this webinar. Jorge has asked, will we have a topic for the website penetration or hosting or API integration? What about SSL?
Yeah, again, the course really focuses on management strategies and ways to build a culture. So we're not looking at specific hardware, software setups or specific attack vectors, things like that. It's not technical in that sense. This is, how can managers, executives, consultants, even individuals, become more aware of cybersecurity? How can they, work to prevent risk and to mitigate risk and to rebound once an attack has happened? So it's looking at the manager angle rather than the attack front. Great.
Christine or Bella, this might be a question best suited for either of you. We have a question here. An individual would like to get the CCSP certification as they already have the CISSP cert. They want to know, where does the MIT cert count and value in regards to the above mentioned terms?
Sure, so I'm happy to take this one. So the MIT certification, it's a certificate in a function, let's say. So for example, you can take 4 courses under our category of management and leadership and earn an executive certificate in management and leadership. Those courses are under that umbrella in terms of kind of topics and what you would hope to gain from those programs. If you're looking more in the area of strategy and innovation, then you could take programs under that category, and those programs would lend themselves to more of those topic areas. And so I encourage you to just take a look, and if there are any programs that you want us to elaborate on, you can always reach out and we're happy to help you through that.
So building off that, would an individual or participant be able to earn CPE credit for certs that they already have, like a CISSP?
So we are non-degree, so we don't. You don't earn any credits from our courses. It's just continuing your education through executive.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. Can you share an interesting example on what will be covered in ethics in cybersecurity? Eric, did you have a favorite part of that module that you would like to, discuss?
Yeah, that's module 6. That's the last week of the course, and like the slide said, the Apple versus the FBI case actually raises a lot of ethical questions as to how do we balance privacy and security? Like what do we need to do as an individual and as an organization to protect our company yet still respect people's privacy? And Stuart Madnick raises a lot of really interesting points. We have a lot of polls in that module where we're asking people to sort of chime in with their opinion, and you can see how the rest of the class weighs in on that.
Great. Yasin, so yes, the course can be offered outside of the US. Hope that answers your question at a high level.
Yeah, I can add to that a little bit. It's self-paced course, so every week you're delivered 1 week's worth of content, which includes video content and various interactive content, assignments, discussion board posts. And so, you can take the course at a time that's convenient to you. We generally say, most participants say it takes about 5 hours a week of work to do. And so the course, for example, might be released on a Thursday, the new content, and you have, till the next Thursday to watch those videos, respond to the discussion board posts, work on your playbook before the new content for the next week is released.
Great. Hervé, do you have other courses on technical side? If you could expound upon your question, maybe get a little bit more granular, specific by what exactly you're looking for, we might be able to address your question better. So we do have about 8 minutes left. I encourage all participants to chime in with questions.
So Nicholas, just if I may add, I think I'm noticing a lot of questions about the programs and certificates that we have at MIT. So I think my colleague Isabella had posted a link previously, but I just posted it again. Click on that link. I posted it in the chat box. Click on that link and you can find a list of program offerings that we have. We have many of them. So, if there's one in particular, a technical program you're looking for, take a look. I just want to be able to share that with the group.
Thanks, Christine. There's one question in here, what days of the week the class will be. As Eric just alluded to, it's go at your own pace, generally recommended around 5 to 6 hours over the course of the 6 modules. And again, if any questions arise after the webinar, our program advisors are available. Please feel free to send any additional questions you have to mit@emeritus.org. A few questions just came in. Is there any age criteria for the program? No, there's not. Being that you're 55 years old, that's fine. Age ain't nothing but a number, as they say. So Bruce, your question, how many domains in the courses? Is it the same with CISSP domain? Eric, are you able to provide any further detail on Bruce's question?
Bruce, I think that's related to a certification, right? So I'm not sure if you're referring specifically to what kind of certification you would receive, or if you're referring to what content is the course covering. Is it the same course that would be covered in a CISSP domain?
So Bruce, feel free to expound upon your question. Okay. Question just came in. Can you elaborate on the National Institute of Standards and Technology, the NIST Cybersecurity Framework? Again, we will have a original architect of this framework during the module. And with that, I'll let Eric sort of build off of what's included within that module.
Yeah, sure. So we touch on it briefly in Module 1, but then in Module 2, we do a deep dive into the NIST framework. And it begins with a case study where you see an organization is attacked and how they can implement the NIST framework to recover and to be more cyber resilient in the future. As Nick said, there's a video with a couple of videos with Carrie Perlson, one of the professors, talking with someone who helped architect the initial NIST framework and worked with the government to do that. So they walk through all the steps very carefully and give very practical examples to help you wrap your head around how what each of the steps in the framework means and how it can be applied. So it's a pretty thorough investigation of the framework.
Great. So I do want to be respectful of people's times. I notice we're just about out. I would like to thank you all for taking the time to join us today. Really hope that this webinar has been helpful and useful for you, and it's helped you make a decision whether or not you would like to join us for this next course run. So again, if you do have additional questions, as I said earlier, please feel free to send them along to mit@emeritus.org. We're happy to answer any questions you have specifically about the course program, about the faculty, about the school, about the learning facilitators. Anything you have, please send them along. You can also reach out to the program advisors. They're here to help you make an informed decision on whether you'd like to proceed with the course. So thanks again. We look forward to having you join us, and take care. Have a great day. I'd like to thank Eric, Bella, and Christine, as well as Christina Cooper. Thank you all very much, and we're looking forward to launching the next run of this course. So take care, everybody.